Good morning, everyone. Thank you for attending this Cabinet meeting, and welcome to those of you who are joining us from home this morning. We begin our meeting, as always, with apologies for absence, and we have Councillor Jones as someone who isn't here today. I think that's it. So the minutes of the meeting, I'll sign those at the end of this meeting. If you all agree, that was the meeting on the 14th of January. Are you all happy that I sign those at the end?
Agreed.
Yeah, thank you very much indeed. Disclosure of members' interest, normal routine that we go through. Yes, Councillor.
Yes, thank you, Leader. Item 11, school admissions arrangements, school transport policy. I'll not be taking part in that because I've got a personal interest in the item there. I have already declared that to Moderating Officer and senior officers.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. And the normal rules apply to all of us. And I think we've probably all made the declarations on our form in any case. So we move on to the budget and the medium-term financial plan for the coming year, financial year. It's been both disappointing in terms of the way we wanted to do this second year of our two-year budget, which we agreed last year. We have to do it every year, even though it's a two-year budget. And we had hoped that we would have made some new service initiatives, and we had hoped to be able to reduce council tax by a little bit as well. Unfortunately, the settlement that we received has not allowed us to do that. Local political activists say that the council have received £20 million more, and that is absolutely true. But what is not factored into that is the extra costs that the council have had to pick up. And they range from a whole raft of different new initiatives that we have to do nationally and locally. It does not take into account all the extra costs of adult social care and children, special needs and so on, nor of the new tax, the increase in national insurance contributions, which will cost us millions of pounds, and also a number of other areas that we will need to pick up on. Nevertheless, despite that disappointment, I'm so proud that we have now got a budget that we can put to council next week, which is the details of which are here, which show that we are sound financially at a really difficult time, and I'm incredibly grateful to everyone involved in there, Jan and her team. And it was very refreshing to note that the independent review that we had from the Local Government Association gave us very much a positive acknowledgement of how good our finances are being run at a very difficult time for local government, about the political leadership and about the officer leadership and how well those two work together. And because of that, we have got to this position today that will protect our frontline services, that will keep free town centre car parking, that will keep the first hour free parking at all our country parks to allow people that opportunity to go to any of our wonderful green spaces and enjoy a walk with the dog or spend a little bit longer and see all the wonders that we provide in the county. It will continue to allow us to build our super schools. It will continue to allow us to provide a set of leisure facilities that are the envy of many, many councils. So all of this will allow us to continue to do the work about which we still hold the same level of commitment and aspiration and ambition as we did when this administration started almost 4 years ago. So what will the council tax be? Well, it looks like some councils in the country are going to be raising council tax by up to 10%, 9.9%. Others will go for 7%. The Police and Crime Commissioner, the Northumbria Police precept is 7.7%. Ours will be 2.99. 2.99, which is just slightly more than the rate of inflation at a time when we have all these extra costs coming in. And I think that's a great testament to the work that we've all done. I think it's a great testament to having a set of priorities in the political direction, and then officers, a cadre of officers throughout the organisation who are delivering on those priorities. And I'm very, very, very grateful to all of them. I think one of the concerns that we have going forward is that, according to SPARS, which is a rural organisation, the fact is now that rural residents will pay on average 20% more in council tax compared to urban residents. But rural councils will receive 40% less in government funding spending power per head than urban councils. And I think that sets quite a worrying precedent for the future. We will do our best to make sure that despite all of that, we will continue to provide all those things that we provide. But it is a worry as we look forward. So our council tax will be 2.99. We have the government tax, of course, for adult social care as well of 2%, which will make the total 4.99%. And I think all I can say is I'm most grateful to all our staff who've managed to do this. And it's a great pity that we haven't been able to introduce new initiatives that we wanted to, including a reduction in council tax. But as it is, I'm very grateful to everything that is there and that we have managed to achieve. So that's where we are. All the details are here for us. Are there any questions or queries? Before I do, I'm actually going to propose this budget and medium-term financial plan, and it's seconded, thank you, by Councillor Wimmer. So we'll move on to discussion. Councillor Stewart.
Yes, thank you, Leader. I'm delighted to see that Northumberland County Council will continue to support the older people in our communities, the ones who are most vulnerable in our society. And we know that we have an older population here. Many of them are suffering mentally and physically as a result of losing the winter fuel allowance. So thank you to Northumberland County Council for finding that money.
Yeah. Councillor Horncastle.
Thank you, Leader. You've explained that it's extremely difficult times financially, and especially with the not so good settlement we got just before Christmas from the new government. But what we have managed to achieve in this county, especially through our environment policy, is pretty amazing, actually. We try and achieve in this county somewhere that's nice to live, somewhere that is nice and attracts visitors. And we've done that through this, we've started to do that through our environment policy. We've got the most wonderful parks and open spaces. We've got 12 of our parks at green flags. We're going for another one in the Tyne Valley. And these green flags are a national standard. And if you visit these parks, they're absolutely amazing what we've got there. Going for a blue flag at Blythe Beach, the only one in Northumberland. Our AONBs, the input we have into them, the North Pennines AONB in the south of the county, where we meet Durham and Cumbria, and the smaller one up the coast here. Our recycling, the targets are improving, and we've got exciting new recycling strategy on the way very soon to do with glass and improving our recycling on plastic. Our fly tipping figures are improving. There's a massive reduction there. We've got the Great Northumberland Forest, and we've got some of the cleanest air in the country. So our environment policy is really working. I don't know how we've managed to achieve it at such a time of financial hardship, but it's a great testament to the hard work of our officers and the people out there on the ground.
Thank you very much. Couldn't agree more. Councillor Watson.
Thank you, Leader. I just want to say, you mentioned new initiatives. We have done some really good new initiatives, and I'm pleased to see them coming to fruition in this year. For example, in the next couple of weeks, we'll see a brand new library van helping to keep our libraries being the vibrant service that they are, going out to all of the outlying reaches concentrating on our equalities and our value for money. So I think that's a really great initiative. And also, we've opened a new library branch this year, which not many councils have done. And just to finally mention as well, I think when we've moved to our new operator for the leisure centres, places are showing great initiatives to go further out into the community. It's been a very smooth transition. It's been good for our council taxpayers because it's a better value for money than we had before. So we have managed to achieve some really good things this year, and I'm very proud of them.
Excellent. Thank you very much indeed. So there we are. There's some flavour of some of the real positives from this year. So being proposed and seconded, are we all in favour to take the recommendations forward? We are. Thank you very much indeed. So we move on to our next agenda item, which is around the revenues and benefits policies 25-26. I'm going to ask Councillor Pojai to tell us about this.
Thank you, Leader. This is a straightforward report. It's about updating revenue and benefits policies. We do it on a regular basis when the legislation is changing or they need some update due to the best practice, with the current best practice. So there are a couple of amendments here, but I will just list the main ones, which is the response to the new legislation, which is the Levelling Up and Regeneration Act 2023. And that introduces discretionary council tax measures on empty homes and second homes. So we are making provision for that one in these policies, and we also propose removing the 100% council tax discount on uninhabitable properties, and that expects to generate £600,000 of additional income to the council purse. There were additional minor wording adjustments and clarifications in other policies, but these are minor and not worth listing here. So I just fully support that and ask you for your support with this paper. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Are you proposing the recommendations? And seconded by Councillor Brenner-Thompson. Any questions or queries on this one? Very important paper. No. Are we all in favour of it then, the recommendations? We are. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you very much. And I'm going to ask you to tell us now about the corporate fraud policies.
Thank you again. That's a very similar story here. We update them annually, every February. And these are fundamental policies to maintain strong governance and safeguarding of the public resources. And we use them to prevent and address fraud, bribery, corruption, and therefore we are supporting our priority, which is value for money. There are two policies listed there. One remains unchanged, which is anti-money laundering policy, and the other one is a anti-fraud, bribery and corruption policy, which has been enhanced with additional flowchart to clarify the investigation process on suspected fraud cases. So as per previous report, I'm just asking you for your support, and I'm happy to propose that.
Excellent. Thank you very much indeed, and seconded by Councillor Watson. Are there any questions on this policy, please? Anyone? No, you're happy. So can we vote on this one? Everyone happy? Councillor Horncastle? Yes. Good. Thank you very much. Thank you. We move on to a summary of the new capital proposals considered by the Officer Strategy Group. And we have some really good schemes here, which I hope we're going to agree. The first one is around the Cramlington Youth Zone. Cramlington have done so much with the Town Council there and the local councillors in Cramlington. This is a new and exciting project. Can I ask Guy Renner-Thompson to tell us about it?
Thank you, Leader. This is a fantastic project put forward by Cramlington Town Council. As you know, we've had some money in the budget earmarked for Cramlington for quite some time, and this is the area that they've decided to invest that money in. I couldn't think of a better project for them to invest that money in, you know, a building for youth to go to. It's going to be ran by the Town Council. We're just providing the capital, they're providing the revenue funding to fill the thing. And I think it's a good example for other town councils across the county to look at. You know, we get a lot of comments from town and parish councils about what they want and what they expect us to do. But this is an example of them being on the front foot and actually doing it themselves. And if people come to us with well thought out plans and proposals, we will look at them.
Yeah, absolutely, dead right. Are we all okay with this one? Yes, Richard Wimmer.
Yes, thank you, Leader. Just to say that, to emphasise some of the points that Councillor Anna Thompson's made, this was money that you put in the budget because Cramlington, unlike virtually every town in the whole of the rest of the county, does not benefit from Boardlands or a town deal or any other programme where we've been able to attract funds. The Cramlington councillors have worked incredibly hard on this alongside their officers at the town council. It is an absolutely great example of partnership working with that town council, and it reflects as well some work, hence me speaking on it, that has been done by the Regen team. We've held a big conversation in Cramlington. We've had hundreds of people coming and talking to us in Manor Walks. We've had a significant amount of engagement with young people, and this is exactly what it was that they were asking for, somewhere that was a good, safe space where they could drop in and spend time. It's a fantastic project, and I can't wait for it to get up and off the ground. Thank you.
Good. No, that's really helpful. Thank you. And so we'll come back to that one at the end, but we're all in favour at the moment on that one. The next one is, again, another Cramlington project, again benefiting from the 3.5 million that we allocated to Cramlington, which has now been earmarked for projects, not just for youth, but also for people who need help. And so, Wendy Patterson, tell us about their plans for the Dementia Garden.
Thank you very much, Leader. When I first became the portfolio holder for adult social care, I wanted to do more for those suffering with dementia and also for their carers as well. So I am absolutely delighted to support the delivery of a dementia garden in Coronation Park in Cramlington. So this area will offer a safe and tranquil environment for dementia sufferers. They'll be able to walk safely and enjoy sensory plants and flowers, colours, scents, and all of those things create calmness and also brings back treasured memories as well. So I can't tell you how delighted I am, and full credit to the support from Cramlington Town Council to move this forward as well. Absolutely delighted, Leader.
Excellent, good. A great new addition, I'm sure we'd all agree. So let's move on to 3.4, which is the Northumberland line update. Richard Wearmouth.
Thank you, Leader. So this, when you first look at the report, there's some very large numbers in this report, but this is effectively a certain amount of housekeeping on the financial side. So this is us accepting money into the capital programme from the Department for Transport and allocating it to various tasks which are either have been completed or in the process of being completed to enable the railway line to open in full later this year. Obviously, we've already seen the opening of Ashington and of Seaton Delaval stations. We await with bated breath confirmation from the contractor and Network Rail about exactly which day the station at Newsham will open, which is the next one. As the Cabinet know, there's been a huge number of engineering challenges in this project, but already it's been demonstrated to be a significant success. We've had thousands of people using the line every day, and I just want to say a big thank you to the delivery team who are working on it. It has been a challenge, but we're working our way through all of those challenges, and I very much look forward to completion of the works in due course, and with that, happy to obviously move that recommendation in due course.
Very much, and I'll second that. Any questions or queries on this one? If not, could we move on then to Witton View in Rothbury, and I'll ask Colin Horncastle to tell us about this one.
Thank you, Leader. This is a real good news story. Rothbury, one of our smaller towns in the rural areas, surrounded by miles and miles of open countryside. You don't often get a lot of development in these places, and for us to be able to get our hands on 2 3-bedroom houses at this price is pretty remarkable. So it's a Cousins development of 40 units. 6 of these units through our planning policies, affordable housing units, and the 2 that are up for affordable rent, we made an offer to Cousins for these 2 units. And that offer was accepted in October last year. And what's happened is we've managed to get these 2 3-bedroom houses, of which will definitely go to local people, because Rothbury and the surrounding parishes are subject to the council's rural allocations policy. So we managed to get these houses, 2 brand new 3-bedroom houses, for £135,000 each. So the total spend, 270,000 for 2 houses in the countryside. Rather remarkable. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you. We know there is a housing need in that Rothbury area, so this will make a significant difference there. So I think it's a really good move to make. Is everyone happy with that? Okay, thank you. We'll come back to that one when we vote on it as well. And then finally, we have Richard Stannard House conversion. And I'm going to ask Colin Horncastle to tell us about this one, please.
Thank you, Leader. Richard Stannard House conversion in Bridge Street, Blythe. This is a rather large 3-storey building which is underutilised. It's got tenants in at the moment, but those leases are coming to an end this year. And because of all the massive investment that this council has managed to achieve for Blythe, there's going to be some highly qualified workforce coming. So this is going to provide the 16 apartments, 16 quality apartments in Blythe for a new highly qualified workforce, and this will massively increase the footfall to the shops and businesses in Blythe, and it's another really good news story. It's a type of housing that's desperately needing for the what's going to happen in Blythe in the short term coming. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, Richard Wearmouth.
Thank you, Leader. Thank you, Colin. Just a few comments on this, since it's a regen project in some respects as well for the centre of Blythe. We all know that the way that many businesses operate has changed since the pandemic. That we've got increased working from home, and the demand for places like Richard Stannard House has reduced as a consequence. So this is a really good way of repurposing an existing building to fit with more modern times. As the paper notes, there's £3.37 million that is being provided in order to undertake this work by the council, and that funding came from what was called the Blythe Deep Dive, and many of you might recall Michael Gove coming up to Blythe to see all of the good work that was going on and listening to what it was that we needed. We fed that information back as to what would help in addition, and a lot of that was around improving the standard of properties in the centre of Blythe and adding new properties so that we got more footfall in the town centre, and that's exactly what this is going to do. As Colin has said, there's always this question that goes on in Blythe about what type of housing is always the bit, who's going to be in these houses, and the answer is that these are going to be very good quality apartments available for private rent from Advanced Northumberland and not for any other purpose. And it's all about getting those houses for the sorts of professionals that we want to be working in Blythe Town Centre. And if you want an example of the quality of build and quality of project that goes on from Advance, and you could probably look no better than to look at the Ascent homes that build at Commissioner's Quay, really good quality homes that have got people living in the centre of Blythe, spending money in the centre of Blythe, and anything that we can do to increase that is always got to be welcome. I really look forward to seeing it when it's all finished, and thank you, Colin. It looks a great project.
Yes, no, a very good summary, and I think we're all very committed to ensuring that ambition for the town, and the commitment that the previous government showed to it by awarding us, I think, about £80 million altogether for Blythe. We see that work through, and this is the next step in this really important initiative. And so I'm very pleased indeed that we are taking this forward for high quality apartments for Blythe. So, there we are. There are all the recommendations. I'm going to ask if we have a proposal for all of them, and we have Councillor Pojai and Councillor Rana Thompson, and are you all in favour, please? We are. Okay. Thank you. That then moves us on to Richard Wearmouth again, who's going to talk about Blythe again, but a different part, a different initiative, and even more exciting than we could have ever imagined development for Blythe. Richard.
Thank you, Leader. And yes, you're right. This is another exciting project that's under development in Blythe. This is a paper that's updating the latest position on the Energy Central Institute, and there's a set of recommendations which I'll address in a moment between paragraphs 3.1 and 3.9. I'll talk about those in a second. But just to set the context, when we came to office, there was an incredibly poor education and skills offer in Blythe. Something that we as a Conservative-run council are determined, working with partners, that we will change and are changing. To paint that picture a little bit more, two high schools, only one sixth form, and pretty much nothing else going on if you were wanting to further your education in Blythe. That wasn't acceptable to us then, and we're changing it now. So what have we done already? You'll be familiar with the STEM facility that opened earlier in the, at the end of last year, in fact. Already people learning in that facility, linking them up with good quality jobs in the port and beyond. This is the next step in that process. It is providing that covering that gap from around about 18 years old on to right up to PhD type level of learning. It's going to be, and it has been developed with businesses, including those on the port, those at the Catapult, and others that will come to the area in due course. It'll provide an opportunity for lifelong learning for Blythe residents and for residents from further afield as well. It's been enabled by funding both from the government, from ourselves, and further funding that's been negotiated with the combined authority in addition. And who's going to be operating this building? It's going to be institutions like Newcastle University and Durham University. And if you'd said just a few years ago that you would have world-leading universities like Newcastle and Durham operating a permanent base in the centre of Blythe, you would have been laughed at, quite frankly. And yet here we are, having achieved it, and it's a remarkable position to get to. There's still work to be done to get us, though, to the next stages, and that's what this paper is doing. And you can see in those recommendations that this will get us up to the design stage and get us on into planning and so on and so forth. Of course, we're always sensitive to the views and feedback of residents, and to give, you know, and this, we've got this huge portfolio of projects across the whole of Blythe. And to give just one example, you know, the council have been looking at cycle routes, for example, in the area, and we've got that one that connects across from Bebbside Station into the town centre. We've had feedback from local residents, including local town councillors like Brian Erskine, who's always badgering me about this. And where we get feedback and we need to make changes to the plans, we will make them. And I've asked for reconsideration, for example, of that cycle route in due course. And where we get feedback on this one, we will reflect, we'll make sure that it ties in with aspirations and thoughts and feelings of Blythe residents. But no further chat from me on this one. Happy to answer any questions. Really exciting project. Let's get on with it.
And you're proposing the
I absolutely am proposing it.
And I'll second
Thank
those.
you. Thank you, Leader.
Any questions from anyone, or queries or thoughts? I would just pick up on the point. Yes, Guy first.
Sorry. Yes, Leader, just to extol what Councillor Wearmouth's already said, you know, as the portfolio holder for adult skills, the phase 1 of the Energy Central Institute is doing really, really well. We've got 800 qualifications, people gaining qualifications out of there every year, be that T-levels, apprenticeships and so on. We've got 3,500 young people a year getting some engagement from it, where the Energy Central Institute are going out to other schools and engaging with learners, and we've got 5,000 people just visiting the visitor centre. And you know, we were there, the three of us were there with the mayor when we dug the ground, the first spade of soil out the ground, not that long ago, and this is really flowing out of the ground. So it's testament to everything that we can do when we, as a group, as a Conservative group, put our mind to it, because we will not be the people that leave the children of Blythe and Northumberland in the past. You know, we need to move on from this idea that, oh, it's all doom and gloom and the mine's closed and everything's terrible. We have a very exciting future in southeast Northumberland with offshore wind, with other renewable energies, and it's something we have to grasp. You know, the Port of Blythe is a huge opportunity, not just for Blythe, but for children and young people from across Northumberland. And with these new rail links and public transport links going into Blythe as well, it's making it easier and easier and easier for Blythe to benefit the whole of the county.
Absolutely correct. Thank you for that. I think if there are no more questions, I would just add one quick thing to the point that Councillor Wearmouth made about the planned cycle route. I have had some colleagues of mine raise this with me, and I am going to make an announcement about the cycle route later on today or tomorrow. We think that the Blythe Relief Road is crucial. That is what we think we should be focusing on. We have already demonstrated that commitment by finding some of our own money to keep the project on track. We will continue to talk to our partners like DFT and the government and the North East Combined Authority. But we remain absolutely committed, as we have been committed, to this project and to all the other work that we've done along with the previous government in Blythe. We've shown that commitment, we've shown that desire, we've shown that real ambition to pick up a town and say, what can we do to make lives better for you, for your families, and for the county as a whole? And that is what we're doing, and that is what we've done, and that's what we'll continue to do, to raise aspiration, to raise confidence, to raise life chances, and to actually ensure that everyone is clear about why we're doing this. And the answer is providing people who need help, who need advice, who may not have liked school, may not have liked education, but may have a calling to do a profession or carry out a skill that will be for the benefit of the community and for themselves. So that is that commitment. It has driven us for 4 years, and it will continue to deliver on those key priorities for the people in Blythe, and we're committed to it, and we'll carry on doing it. So thank you very much for the comments that you've made, and I think we're all fully on board with these recommendations, and so can we just show that, please? Yep, that's unanimous. So thank you very much indeed for that, and thank you very much, Councillor Wearmouth, for that very inspiring presentation. I'm going to ask you now to talk about something completely different, but actually as important, which is a Northumberland food strategy. Now, not many weeks ago, we saw tractors out here. Those of you would have seen that, and you would have understood that there are issues facing farming. And we as a county council have always understood the importance of our rural economy. This is the next step that we're taking to see if we can support the rural economy and rural business. Over to you.
Thank you, Leader. So yes, so this is the first step on creating the food strategy for the council, but this cuts across many departments here at NCC, and not just in my own portfolio in Regen. Northumberland has a really proud heritage of producing the very best quality food, and you can go anywhere in this country and you'll find it in available and in high demand. What does this plan aim to do, though? It aims to grow the markets for products and produce created here. It intends to increase the income for local businesses, including our farmers, but also our restaurateurs and all of the people that sell that produce on as well. But it also is intended to make sure that the diet of our residents is hopefully more locally sourced, more sustainable, more healthy, because that's a really important part of making sure that we tackle some of the issues that we perhaps have around inequalities in food and food provision. The food strategy is threefold. As the report notes, is to provide the framework for decision-making, investment and governance that bolsters food security in the county, and that's really important as we see lots of different demands on land in the county. It's to improve local prosperity, health whilst reducing inequalities and climate change, as I've mentioned, and to maximise that benefit. And what is it that we have in terms of the economy at the moment? Around about £452 million as of 2023 in terms of expenditure, representing 48 or so % of total visitors spend in Northumberland. That's a significant growth, and it's growing year on year as we get more and more visitors. We've got thousands of jobs that depend on the food and drink industry as well, and we're looking to grow that all over the time, and that's already significantly up on the same position if you went back to 2013 and looked 10 years earlier. There's a series of links that will be made with the new combined authority to make sure that we're fully in step with them as we progress this, but really good starting point and plenty to go at here. I don't feel that I've totally done it justice in terms of Seliget. I'm sure you have some words of your own, leader, that you'll add.
Well, are you proposing those recommendations?
I am, absolutely, yes. Right. And I believe that Karen Thompson seconding them.
Seconded.
Thank you, Guy.
Thank you. Questions, queries, thoughts on this really important strategy? I think for me, the key point is that we know there are almost 5,000 jobs that are actually linked to food and drink already, and hospitality figures will be far in excess of that. So we've been quite keen to ask officers to keep the pace on this one, so that there will be discussions with all the groups that and interested parties that Councillor Wearmouth has mentioned, but that we will come back in the late summer and have a product that's ready to go that will talk about all those really important things that we need to highlight, and we will produce this for the benefit of primarily rural business and the rural economy. So we've gone from Blythe to the hills and the countryside, and I'm sure we'll go back to Blythe or elsewhere. I do think, though, to be fair, even our strongest critics would have to admit that we, as an administration, do care as deeply about towns like Blythe as we do about the rural areas. Yes, Councillor Renner-Thompson.
Yes, Leader. Just want to emphasise that the council has a proud history of supporting food producers in the county. So we had our farmers' protest the other week, and then we voted to write to the government to halt their, frankly, disgusting attacks on the rural economy. But let's not forget, it's not just about farming; it's about fishing as well. And not that long ago, we spearheaded the efforts to stop people being able to fish around Holy Island and sea houses in the Farne Islands, for example. And we were successful in that. Just the other week, I sat in a meeting in this room with NIFCA, with the Inshore Fisheries Authority, and we wrote to North Tyneside Council because they're doing something similar at Cullercoats, where they're trying to close the boatyard there, and the local fishermen are saying, well, you're going to end hundreds of years of the culture of fishing in North Tyneside. So we have a strong background of fighting for our food producers. You know, as much food as can be in the canteen behind us here is grown in Northumberland. We've got potatoes from Wooler and sausages from Longhoughton and lots of other places. But that's something we really need to embed into the council. You know, I'd like to see recommendations around our school food. You know, where that's coming from. Can we get as much of it as possible from Northumberland? You know, and there are other public sector bodies that we control that we can have a direct impact on the procurement that will help the farmers and the fishermen of Northumberland rather than just some kind words.
Absolutely correct, and I hope very much that you will be involved in the delivery of the final plan of action, because you are quite right in raising the points that you have. So thank you for that. Okay, so anything else from anyone else? Yes, Councillor Stewart.
Yeah, if I may, Leader, just a couple of points. To praise the Northumberland County Council teams who inspect the premises up and down, whether it be grain establishments or restaurants or shops there. It's a wide geographical area, so it's not an easy task, but they come out time and time again at the highest rates there. You're right to highlight the issues regarding farmers, and it's not just farmers in the wilds of Northumberland, but it's close to many towns, which I'll not mention one in particular. But the other fear is that building additional housing in this county, somewhere circa 200%, if not more, could have a downstream impact upon the agriculture in our county as well.
Thank you very much. That's a good point. Councillor Watson.
The issue of food in Northumberland is not just a simple one. It has a big effect on our tourism, for example. And there is no finer food available throughout the UK than is available in Northumberland. And we've seen how the growth of the visitor offer for food can transform a town. And Amble is the place that I'm thinking about. A few years ago, Amble was not a very important town for tourism. Now it's hugely important because we've developed Northumberland food, we've developed our restaurants, our cafes, and it is now a destination point. And it's all tied up with the produce in Northumberland. So I'm really supportive of that. Thank you, Leader.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think Amble's moved on leaps and bounds over the last few years, and well done to everybody involved in that. Okay, so that takes us to our voting on this one. So are you all in favour of this very exciting and new initiative? Yes, good. Thank you very much indeed. So now we move to Councillor Wendy Patterson, who's going to tell us about the recent inspection that took place of adult social care.
Thank you very much, Leader. In August 2024, the Care Quality Commission came into Northumberland County Council to inspect adult social care services and how we oversee adult social care in our county. They delivered their report in January 2025, and I'm delighted to announce that we were rated good, with one of the most positive assessments they have published so far. There are only 3 councils in England above us. Hertfordshire, I understand, is number 1, with 2 London boroughs ahead of us. The full report of our assessment is on the CQC website, if anyone would like to read it. At the moment, no other councils have been rated outstanding. So I don't know who's going to get that one. Everyone else is being rated as good. And just to finish off, I'd like to thank the adult social care team, ably led by our Executive Director, Neil Bradley, because they work superbly together. And we have a myriad of things which come under adult social care, and everyone works within their own team, but always thinking about our residents at all times. And just before I finish this, I'd just like to read out from Mr. James Bullion, who was the Chief National CQC Inspector, who said, Northumberland should be pleased with the findings of this assessment and the good practices found. And I must just mention as well, CQC did praise our partnership working with other organisations such as NHS, CNTW and ICB. So all in all, very, very positive.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Wendy. There are some recommendations there, which is that we note the report. We're very pleased with the result. And there is an action plan that will... and I have to say that I don't quite know how easy it must be to inspect an urban adult social care council service compared to ours, which is a huge, great big, massive, great big county with all sorts of different issues around transport and logistics and need and increasing need. So I think for us to get into the good bracket with so much praise is a testament indeed to the work that we've done. I think it would be much easier to run an adult social care service in Lambeth, for example, because you just a much smaller area. I'm sure there are still issues to deal with there, but I think we've done really well, and we should be very proud of what we've achieved. And I'm very grateful to Neil Bradley as well, and to you, Wendy, and to everybody that's been involved. Fantastic, fantastic result. Really, really good. Anything else then for Wendy when we're before we take the vote? Okay, so Wendy's proposed those recommendations, seconded by Councillor Riddle. Are you all in favour, please? Yep, that's unanimous. Thank you very much indeed. And now we come to our last paper, which is around the school admission arrangements and school transport policy. I'm going to ask Councillor Renner-Thompson, who is our Cabinet Member responsible, to take us through this paper, very important paper, and then we can have perhaps some discussion at the end.
Thank you, Leader. This is a long and complex paper that we get every year. I'm not proposing to go through the recommendations one by one because all the information is there, but essentially we track the birth rates of our of people in Northumberland. We have that data from age 0. We get it from the hospitals and whatnot, and we use that data to track forward and look at what our population in various parts of the county are going to be, and therefore what the admission numbers for various schools are going to be. So I know you have some questions on this, so I'm happy just to open that up to questions.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any questions for anyone? Councillor Riddle.
Thank you, Leader. Yes, I just want to raise one matter that is concerning me at the moment, and that was, it's very parochial, but it is actually listed in the papers on page 474 as item 565 and 566, which relates to the transport arrangements for Bellingham Middle School. I do still have some concerns about this and about the specific recommendations that we've got today. I would like the transport to be kept under review. I know that we have to be obviously looking for value for money and economies of scale, etc. But we shouldn't be transporting children greater distances over greater time periods than is needed. And, the line at the bottom of it that says there is no further review planned and the matter was concluded in 2023, I'm not happy with. So I would actually like to propose that when we come to recommendations at 3.6, that we specifically add a line to that at the end of that, which is to agree to continue to review the school transport policy and report it back to the Cabinet.
Okay, do you have a seconder for that? Yes, you do. Councillor Horncastle, I think. Okay, well, we will take that when we come to the rest of the recommendations. So there is a difficult position in Hexham where we have the Seagull School, which is a great school, and we know how important it is. We also have some other very good schools locally that are, if we're not careful, and if we don't take action and we don't look at this seriously, could well face difficulties in remaining open over the coming years. So we have been discussing very, very deeply over a number of months about what can we best do that enables freedom of choice, but also enables the smaller rural schools that we have in Northumberland to continue, because that's what we want to see happen if we possibly can. We do not want to see small, little local schools closing in our rural communities. So that is something that we want to maintain. So we have no option, I don't think, having discussed this. And given that we're talking about the SEAL reduction in its admission number from 84 to 60, but it's from September 26, not September 25. So that gives a good period of time for discussion to take place, actions to be thought through, and process to take place. So it is a difficult decision, a very difficult decision, but it's the right decision for us to be taken for the sake of our smaller schools and for the children and for those parents who are involved. Councillor Brenner-Thompson.
Thank you, Leader, for that. I think just to take this opportunity to clarify, everything you said is completely right, but there's goings on in the public arena about this issue which aren't entirely accurate. You know, the capacity of the SEAL school reducing from 84 to 60 is in line with the number of children that are applying to the school. So it's not something that's going to have an immediate impact on the school. I mean, we can see the reception figures in table 1 here fall down in 2023 to only 52 children. Now, if the capacity of the school is kept incredibly high, what we're seeing is children from Shafto Trust Primary in Hayden Bridge and Hexham First School, children that would normally go to those schools, going to the SEAL school, which could mean that those two other schools, which are both rated good, exactly the same as Sale School, we could see those facing closure. And we, as a Conservative council, have made it our policy not to close small rural first schools unless it is an absolute final result. You know, this is why we've kept many of them open against officer recommendation at times. You know, because this is our policy. So I think it is the right thing to do, but I also think it's a bit of moving the players around on the board with the big sticks, but it's not going to have the negative impact on those parents that some have been led to believe.
Absolutely. So I think to sum it up, we have looked very carefully at all the options. We take this decision very, very, very carefully and seriously. We have read all the submissions and consultation responses from everyone that's been in touch with us. But we have this dilemma of needing to ensure that education is provided in the best way we can, and that we don't close small schools, that we keep them open, and that is for the benefit of the county as a whole. So our thanks very much to everyone who has replied, and we will continue to work with you as we go forward. But given it's not going to happen until September 26, we think this gives sufficient time for discussion to take place and process to be underway. So we come to the recommendations. We do have a change in the recommendations, which is that 3.6 would read, we approve the school transport policy for children of compulsory school age, provide in Appendix 5, and agree to continue to review our whole school transport policy and to come back and report back to a future cabinet in due course. So that point, particularly around Bellingham School that you've made, Councillor Riddle, will not be closed. It will continue to be reviewed. So with those changes, are you happy to agree the recommendations? Yes, that looks unanimous. Thank you very much. I note, by the way, that Councillor Stewart has removed himself from the table because of the interest he declared. And that takes us to the end of the meeting. Thank you all very much indeed for your time and expertise today, and I hope you'll join us again.